TYR, the brand that made your swimming cap and weightlifting singlet. In the latest performance trainer, the Maverick Runner V1, I have to admit that I'm impressed and slightly blistered. This shoe has some serious potential, a ton of comfort, a unique geometry and one of the smoothest rocket rides I've experienced this year. It's not perfect, and after 100 miles I've got some strong opinions about where the TYR has nailed it and where they still have some lessons to learn. Let's break it down. Fit, feel, performance, foam, the good, the bad, and whether this $150 trainer deserves a spot in your rotation. Welcome to TECHNO Runner with me, John. Now today we're going to be looking at this TYR Runner Maverick version 1. This is the latest performance shoe from TYR. Now TYR very kindly, as part of their promotion of this Maverick version 1, did send me this as a review copy. Now I'm not obligated to say anything, and the views and opinions you're going to hear are going to be mine and mine alone. So let's get to it. So let's start off with some cold hard numbers. Now the price of the TYR Runner Maverick version 1 is about $150. The weight is about 7.7 ounces, which I have tested on the TYR scales that came in with the box, or about 220 grams in a male size 9. This is a neutral running shoe and true to size. The stack height is about 44 millimeters in the heel and about 36 millimeters in the forefoot, giving that a drop of 8 millimeters. This is a max stacked lightweight rockered daily trainer. Now that's a lot of shoe for under 8 ounces. To put that into perspective, it's lighter than most high stacked shoes, even compared to something like the Hoka Mock Series, Super Comp Trainer or the Novablast. TYR calls this midsole material flight time supercritical foam. Now they're a bit secretive when it comes to the formula. Now I have looked on the website and there's nothing there to indicate what the material actually is in this TYR Maverick version 1. But it feels like a nitrogen infused EVA foam, not too bouncy and not too mushy. Now the geometry of the shoe is really interesting. Even with this max stack, you sit down into the foam rather than sit on top of it. So instead of feeling tall and tippy, it feels grounded, stable and controlled. First impression of the shoe is it's light and fast and fun to run in. So now let's look at the upper, the fit and the comfort of the TYR Maverick version 1. TYR have gone for a structured upper that's both secure and performance orientated. The mesh is a little stiff out of the box, but it's durable and it holds its shape really, really well. Fit wise, this shoe hits the sweet spot. Snug around the midfoot, secure through the lacing and roomy in the toe box. That anatomic forefoot design gives you the genuine toe splay, something that's rare in modern 8mm drop trainers. I've got to say that the TYR Maverick version 1 upper is really comfortable. Snug without feeling constrictive, and once you get a few runs in it, it molds nicely to the foot. But there is a big but, and that is the heel section of the shoe. This heel counter on the TYR Maverick Runner version 1 only comes up about 2/3, and there is no additional padding on this trainer. Around the 4 to 6 mile mark, I started to feel some rubbing, and by mile 10 I had blisters. Is it a deal breaker? Now for some, no, as you can just wear thicker socks. Now for me, yes, this is a major flaw and one that shouldn't really be happening. Of shoes of this price in 2025, I would appreciate some extra padding in this heel section here. And I think TYR, if you are watching this, I would say if you can soften that up, then you've got a real winner on your hands here. The flight time foam feels balanced, soft underfoot and not too bouncy. You get cushion without the instability of something like a Zoom X or a Fuel Cell. The TYR Maverick version 1 for the first 10 miles does feel like a dream. Smooth, energetic and surprisingly responsive. But after that 10 mile mark, that lively pop does for me start to fade. The foam loses some rebound, settling into a more controlled, stable feel. So while it's great for daily runs, mid-range efforts and tempo work, this isn't for me a shoe that I would take on a half marathon or even a full marathon. Stability, geometry and traction of the TYR Maverick version 1. Now let's talk about geometry of this shoe, because TYR has gone wild on the Maverick version 1. You've got huge lateral and medial sole flares. It's designed to keep the foot centered and works for the most part. There's a bit more flare on the lateral side, which can feel awkward at first heel strike, but it settles in quickly. The big rocker through the forefoot makes transitions incredibly efficient. Once you're rolling, the shoe just wants to move forward. The shoe feels neutral overall, but that guided rocker gives you a sense of direction rather than stability in the traditional sense, but a natural flow forward. For traction, I would say the TYR Maverick 1 is average. On dry roads, it feels great. On wet pavements, it's okay, and it's perfectly fine for your everyday needs. But I would say keep this on roads, tracks or treadmills, and I wouldn't take this off road. After 100 miles, I would say that the TYR Maverick version 1 is holding up really well. Almost identical to the day that I got it. Doesn't bottom out and there is no dead zones. The upper hasn't stretched either. It's still secure. I'd even say it's a touch softer, and actually that's definitely improved the fit and the feel of the upper. I'd say you could easily get up to 400-500 miles on this shoe, particularly for me as a lighter runner who is a forefoot to midfoot striker. Now, what are the overall pros and cons of the TYR Maverick version 1? The pros: it is a lightweight yet stable, a smooth rockered ride, great anatomic toe box, durable midsole and a balanced feel. The cons: the heel rubbing can cause blisters, it is quite stiff out of the box, and the responsiveness of the foam does fade after about 10 miles. So that's my 100-mile take and review of the TYR Maverick version 1 after 100 miles. If TYR can fix that heel counter, which for me, blistering in 2025 shouldn't be a thing, then they have an absolute gem on their hands. Please drop your questions below. Let me know your experiences if you've used the TYR Maverick version 1. And of course, please don't forget to hit that like button and like, favorite and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. This is Techno Runner. I've been John. And of course, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.